would you say was probably the worst situation that you ever encountered over your 34 years as a police officer? And how did you handle it?
Uh, well, fortunately for me, I've been blessed not to be in too many life-threatening situations. I pretty much was able to talk my way out of a lot of situations. And there's some situations where you can get into where it has to be physical, but for the most part, it wasn't that long. And I was able to get my way out of it.
Now, I like the way you said that. You said, now, you're 6'2". You say you're 6'2". To me, you're 6'4". Okay, 220. But I find that interesting, the level of intellect that's inside of what you just said. I had to talk my way out of it. And when I talked my way out of it, it ended up being to the benefit of the cats that I was dealing with. Tell me a little bit more about that. I mean, I could have thrown them across the truck if I wanted to, but I'm smart enough and cool enough to let me talk my way out of this.
Well, in my experience, conversation is one of the best tools you could ever use as a police officer. As I said before, you never know what somebody is going through. So if you can try to get them talking and find out the reasons why they're behaving the way that they're behaving, then the human side of you can sympathize, can steer them in another direction, or get them to see another way of handling the situation. You don't always have to meet force with force, but sometimes if you just listen, people will tell you what's on their mind and what it is that they're going through, and it's up to you to pay attention to that and then address the situation accordingly.
So what percentage, if you had to put a number on it, of your fellow officers that felt the same way you felt?
I can't put a number on that. It's so many people in the police department. Everybody is their own individual. I can only go by what I feel, what I do, and how I do things. I can't speak for other officers. That's their story to tell. But for me, communication, conversation, and just listening to people, that's a lot of ways that I got through my 34 years.
How did you deal with situations of what's right and what's wrong? I know I could go this way with a person that I'm dealing with, or I could go that way. How'd you deal with knowing and separating what's right from what's wrong?
Knowing what's right and wrong normally depends on the individual. If somebody did something wrong, as a police officer, if I pulled them over or stopped them for whatever the reason may be, I always identify what it is that they did wrong first and foremost. I don't just sit up there and, you know what you did, and be all dysfunctional. That's the opposite. Dysfunctional as a police officer. You must always remain professional no matter what the circumstances may be. You stay professional, a lot of times things will work out in your favor.
Now tell me this, and I hear you. You know, you stay professional, things are going to work out in your favor a lot of times. But to so many people in the hood that I grew up in, oh man, here we go. Here come the police officer. In fact, I remember my mother used to always say, if somebody came beating on the door, here we go, are you the police officer? It was either the rent man or the police officer. Okay, but the police officer, they drive down the street, always viewed as the enemy. What do you feel, in addition to the things that you already mentioned, can be done today to change that perception of the police officer? And like you said, you guys are human beings just like anybody else. You got your families and everything else. What do you feel can be done additionally to change that perception?
In my opinion, conversation is the key to everything. When you come across people that already sees you as the enemy, they don't look at you, as I said before, as a brother, a father, son, husband. They look at you as the enemy. And most of it is based on their past experience with police officers, some of the experience that they heard from their friends about police officer, but they don't look at you as an individual. They think all police officers are the same, which is not true. All officers are not the same. But when you already have it in your mind that he is the enemy, then for me, I have to, in some way, talk my way and letting you know, listen, I'm not the enemy. I'm here to help. But you have to allow yourself with an open mind to see that in me, the human part, as opposed to seeing me as the enemy because I'm wearing a uniform.
So if I hear you correctly, you're saying, well, we got a job to do, but we're good people overall. Is that how you feel about police officers?
Police officers always have a job to do, but the way that you handle your job tends to make the outcome harder or easier for the officer. In my case, I always talk my way into finding out what's going on first. Once they see me having a conversation and not being that authority figure, it makes it a lot easier. They see that I'm not really out to get them. I'm just enforcing the policies and procedures of the Philadelphia Police Department.
So did you come into the department with that understanding? And who are some of the people that help you to stay on the straight and narrow and do the right thing?
Well, it was a lot of people. I was 21 when I first came on the police department. There was a lot of people that helped guide me in the policies and procedures of being a police officer. But certain things, as a Black person, as a man, you already have inside of you. So in order for you to be the best officer that I could be, then I had to bring my inner self out to let people see the kind of person that I am. And I base my patrolling and officers' knowledge off of that.
So tell me this now. We're, like you said, we're all human. So give me an example of a situation that you encountered where this guy is trying to push you over the line. Give me a situation like that, and how did you handle it? You've been listening to Tell the Story, but stay tuned because there's so much more to come. That's coming up next.